A civilization remembers through institutions. Families preserve names. Churches preserve doctrine. Archives preserve records. Schools preserve an approved account of the past. Search engines now stand beside all of them, though their authority is less visible and far more immediate. Most people no longer begin with a library, a newspaper archive, or a trusted scholar when they want to understand an event. They begin with a search bar. Within seconds, a ranked sequence of links defines the available field of knowledge. The first page becomes the usable past. Everything beneath it drifts toward obscurity. This gives Google a peculiar form of political power. It does not need to erase history. It can alter the order in which history appears. Political memory depends upon retrieval. A fact that cannot be found at the moment it is needed may survive inside an archive, yet it has lost much of its public force. Search determines which facts remain near the surface, which sources acquire authority, and which interpretations require unusual effort to discover. In mass politics, effort matters. Most citizens stop after the first few results. The graveyard of forgotten arguments begins somewhere below the fold. This power differs from ordinary censorship. Censorship announces itself through prohibition. Search ranking works through prominence, delay, association, and omission. A document may remain online while becoming functionally invisible. A disputed event may be framed by the first sources returned. A public figure may be surrounded by accusations before the reader reaches biograph. Why, policy, or context? A war may appear as aggression, liberation, tragedy, or necessity, depending upon the language and institutions given priority. The search engine rarely writes the story. It arranges the room in which the story will be heard. That arrangement shapes politics because political judgment relies on inherited memory. Citizens assess new events through older examples. They compare leaders, wars, economic crises, scandals, migrations, and social movements to what they believe happened before. Control the available past, and one gains leverage over the meaning of the present. Every political faction understands this instinctively. Each side fights over school curricula, public monuments, documentary films, museum exhibits, and historical anniversaries because memory sets the boundaries of legitimate action. A government portrayed as heir to tyranny will be treated differently from one portrayed as heir to liberation. A movement associated with justice gains moral credit. A movement associated with disorder inherits suspicion before it speaks. Search compresses these older struggles into a daily mechanism used by billions of people. Google's authority arises partly from scale. A local newspaper can shape opinion in one city. A textbook can shape one generation within one school system. A search platform can influence many countries at once, across languages, devices, professions, and age groups. Its judgments enter classrooms, government offices, military headquarters, courtrooms, and family kitchens. The same ranking architecture follows a student writing a paper, a voter checking a claim, and an intelligence analyst seeking open source material. The platform therefore occupies a position once divided among librarians, editors, archivists, publishers, and teachers. Those professions had their own biases and failures, yet their authority was scattered. Search concentrates the act of discovery. This concentration produces a knee kind of dependence. A country may possess national archives, public universities, and a large domestic press, while still relying on a foreign corporation to organize public access to knowledge. Its citizens may read local sources through an American search system whose technical methods, legal obligations, commercial incentives, and cultural assumptions were developed elsewhere. That is political exposure. A state that depends on foreign search infrastructure does not fully control the environment in which its history is encountered. Territorial sovereignty may remain intact, while interpretive sovereignty weakens. The country governs its borders, yet another power helps govern which memories cross the citizen's mind. This becomes especially serious during conflict. War creates an immediate struggle over narrative. Governments seek to define the cause of hostilities, the legitimacy of military action, the scale of civilian harm, and the character of the enemy. Search results become part of that battle. The ranking of official statements, news reports, social media posts, maps, casualty estimates, and historical background can influence domestic morale and foreign support. The stronger power may possess greater access to trusted media, recognized universities, major think tanks, and highly ranked official sources. Its account can dominate the first page before weaker states have formed a coherent response. Search then amplifies an existing hierarchy of credibility. Power speaks first, and the algorithm politely saves it the best seat. This does not require a secret command room where executives decide the approved Tory of every dispute. Systems of this scale usually exercise power through rules, training data, reputation signals, moderation policies, commercial priorities, and institutional partnerships. The result may be more consequential because it appears impersonal. Machines acquire borrowed authority when their judgments are hidden inside technical complexity. Users encounter rankings as though they emerged from a neutral process, yet every ranking system reflects choices. It decides what counts as relevance, trust, freshness, expertise, authority, and harm. These categories carry political weight. A government document may rank highly because it is official. A university source may rank highly because it has institutional prestige. A major newspaper may outrank a small archive because it has more links and greater public recognition. A recent article may displace an older primary source because the system rewards fresh material. Each choice can be defended on practical grounds. Together, they create a political structure. The system favors institutions already rich in attention. Large organizations produce more content, attract more links, employ technical staff, and adapt quickly to changes in search design. Small publishers, dissident archives, local historians, and independent researchers often lack those advantages. Their work may remain valuable while becoming harder to encounter. Political memory then tilts toward institutions with money, prestige, and technical reach. This creates a circular form of authority. Sources rank highly because they are widely recognized. They become more widely recognized because they rank highly. The system slowly teaches the public which institutions deserve trust, then cites public trust as evidence that those institutions belong at the top. A polished loop can still be a cage. The danger grows when search becomes personalized. Two citizens may enter similar queries and receive different results based on location, language, prior behavior, device history, or inferred interests. Political memory becomes fragmented. Each person encounters a slightly different past. This makes public debate more difficult because the participants may not share the same evidentiary environment. One side sees one set of events, sources, and associations. The other sees another. Each believes the record is obvious. The argument becomes less about interpretation and more about incompatible worlds of retrieval. A nation cannot sustain political coherence when its citizens inhabit separate archives generated on demand. The problem has no simple cure. Government control of search carries obvious risks. A ministry of memory would quickly discover that embarrassment is a technical defect. State-run search could become a direct instrument of censorship, propaganda, and historical revision. Corporate control is dangerous. Bureaucratic control can be worse and often arrives wearing a badge of public necessity. The proper answer begins with plurality. A healthy political order should resist dependence upon one search platform, one archive, one ranking system, or one class of approved sources. Citizens need access to varied search tools, public records, independent libraries, local archives, and direct repositories of primary documents. Schools should teach students how rankings work and why the first result is an invitation rather than a verdict. States also need domestic capacity in search, data storage, indexing, language models, and digital preservation. A nation unable to organize access to its own legal records, scientific literature, historical documents, and public debates has surrendered part of its governing function. Memory is infrastructure. The physical foundations matter as well. Search depends on data centers, fiber networks, energy, chips, crawlers, indexes, and software. The apparently weightless act of typing a query rests upon a large industrial system. Whoever owns that system can shape the terms of access. This places Google in a strategic position far beyond advertising. Its search engine helps determine what citizens can quickly know about their governments, wars, borders, laws, leaders, and ancestors. Its ranking systems influence reputation. Its indexing decisions influence visibility. Its definitions of trustworthy material influence legitimacy. Such power should be examined with the seriousness once reserved for broadcasting monopolies and national archives. The issue is deeper than partisan complaint. Every faction wants fair treatment when it is weak, and stronger control when it gains power. The recurring temptation is to seize the machine, rather than question why one machine holds so much authority. That temptation produces a contest over who may tune the algorithm, while the concentration itself escapes scrutiny. A civilization should never place its memory inside a single doorway. Google did not create the human desire to organize the past. It built the most powerful mechanism yet devised for satisfying that desire at speed. The result is a company that mediates between the citizen and the recorded world. That mediation carries political consequence. Search can preserve forgotten material, expose official lies, and open archives once reserved for specialists. It can also bury context, privilege dominant institutions, and reshape historical understanding through ranking. The state that controls search gains influence over what the public can readily remember. The corporation that controls search acquires a similar power, though without the formal responsibilities of government. Political memory once depended upon the archivist's key. Now it depends upon the order of the links.